Hello, Lady Val here, and I welcome you back to On the Far Side of Whimsy. And today I'm going to be working on part 2, the decorating or starting to decorate my Annabelle folio. In part 1, we did the base, which is putting the folio together, cutting out the different parts we're going to be using and putting it together. And off camera, I went ahead and kind of reinforced all the pieces with some sewing pattern tissue and inked everything up. So now today I'm going to be concentrating on this first section right here, this part and our lovely picture of Annabelle, and doing some decorating. So I got some things out that I thought I might be using. So let's get started. So I was thinking I would like to back what I have in mind. I'm going to back Annabelle with this piece, and I think I will put a doily behind her, and that's going to decorate that part. On this side, I'm going to put a flip up with a pocket underneath. And we'll go from there. On this side, I've decided I'm going to be, I noticed I actually put these numbers upside down, so I'm going to be covering those with some of my steampunk washi tape and doing some decorating over here. And on this side, I'm going to be doing a pocket, covering it and doing a pocket here. So that's what I have in mind. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start out by folding this out, and I'm going to round these corners. It's a matter of personal choice, rounding corners or not. It's never a requirement. It's whatever you feel like doing. So I'm going to round those in the trash, and I think what I will probably do is, oops, knocking things over here. I'm going to take, this is peacock feathers ink, and I'm just going to ink the top and sides up with that peacock feather to kind of blend it in with the paper. There, because I'll probably be using it again. So basically I'm going to be gluing this part on there, but before I do that, the part that I'm going to be flipping down is this one that I was talking about yesterday or the other day when I did the video for the base, is that she was a little too tall to make her actual base out of. So what I'm going to do is use her for the flip up. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to cut this paper in a couple of places. I'm actually going to cut this down a little bit smaller than the actual middle of the page, because I don't want the flip up to be as big as the page. And I'm going to trim a little down on the other side, right on the other side of that lovely red splodge in the paper. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. And then I'm going to make sure everything is right side up this time. To trim that down to the same size. And we're going to make the pocket on the flip up about by the 92440. So let's cut that there. Okay. And again, personal preference. I'm going to round these corners at the top here. I'm going to move this aside for a minute because I need to actually, let's see, how do I want this? I don't want the pocket like that, so we're going to use the washi tape to tape it together like this. And on this side, I'm going to use the actual, I have two different colors in this tape. I've got the aqua blue and I've got this red, but there's red on the front, so I'm going to use this washi tape in the red. And I'm going to put a little glue on there just to make sure that it holds it tight. As everyone knows, washi tape is a temporary tape. You can pull it back off if you don't glue it down, and you know it's meant to be a temporary tape. So if you want it to be a little more permanent, you're going to have to use some glue. And turn it over and do the same thing on this side. Little glue, and I'm leaving just a little bit of a space so it will fold up easily. And we're going to match that up as best we can. Never hurts to get your bone folder out and just burnish it down really well. On both sides. Okay, find my scissors, and I'm going to trim that little bit off that is over the side. There we go. So that's what we have so far. Bring this back over. So now what I'm going to do is, while I've got this off before I glue it down, because it'll be so much easier to do that, I'm going to actually take some of that washi tape again, and we're going to glue the two together. This is pretty sturdy washi tape, so I'm not going to be worried that it's going to come off or come loose. I think I'll straighten that up a little bit though. Give it a little trim on this side. And just put it halfway. Turn it over. Got it a little bit longer, so let me trim that up. There we go. Perfect. Okay, we're going to put some glue on this side. Make a nice hinge there. That gives it some extra strength besides. Oops, got a little glue seepage. I'm going to erase that off there. Okay, so now we have our flip down. This is going to be our pocket. So I am going, whoops, here it is. I'm going to round these corners as well. And I'm going to put a little thumb notch in there. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not much for measuring unless it's something absolutely has to be really specific. Okay, so I'm actually going to use this peacock again, peacock feathers. Before I glue this down, I'm going to go around the edges. Just to keep in with the actual, peacock color of the kit. So I want to keep that going. I'm going to go around this as well. And I think since I didn't put that quite on there very straight, I'm going to trim just a smidge off of this side to make it a little more even. And punch that edge. That's much better. And around the edges with blue. Okay, now we're going to glue that pocket down. On two sides. Goodness sakes. There we go. Okay, now we've got our flip down. And what I'm going to do in here is I have some, let me put this back out of the way. I have some paper so we can make this flip down a little writing spot. So I'm actually just going to be tearing this to give it kind of a rough edge, which I prefer. And I know you all know that if you tear away, hey, I'm back. I had a little technical difficulty there. I thought I was not recording because I have a little tab that I keep off to the side, so I try to keep in frame for all of you, but it doesn't always work. But either way, it was out of battery. I had to plug it in, so I didn't think I was recording. So I'm going to figure out how to put the two together. But anyway, back where we were. I was tearing off a bit of paper off this piece, and I was explaining that if you tear one way, if you tear down, you're not going to have a white border. If you tear towards yourself, you will have a white border. And that, again, is another preference. You can do it whichever way suits you. So on this, I'm going to, I think I'm going to go around this piece. I have some rusty hinge out here. So I'm going to just go around the edge of this paper with a bit of rusty hinge. Because as you know, with steampunk, I'm sure rust is always, rust and patina. That's where you get your aqua blue color from the patina, and then the rust is just part of the steampunk look. So that's what I'm going to put around this paper to give it a little bit of that rusty tinge. It's just enough to take the little white edges away and give it a little bit of a rusty look, which is what we're going for. Okay. And I'm going to put this for a writing spot. I'm going to get my scrap piece paper out here. Get my glue stick for this. So yeah, I'm not very good at this filming. I'm very new at it. And I'm going to have to learn how to do an editing application. I have one that I've downloaded. I just haven't taken the time to learn how to edit things very well. So pretty much I just kind of post my what was live into my video that I upload. So it isn't always perfect. That I can assure you. Okay. So this is going to take my bone folder. There we go. And I think I have some stickers. Let me see if I can find one that I cut out beforehand in case I wanted to use them. And I think I will use this little gear down here on the bottom just as an extra added little touch. Burnish that on there. And I may even come off with this. Yes, that looks like it'll work. Oop. Messed up my corner. Oh, my. Let's see if I can get that up. I got the corner stuck to itself, so there we go. Saved. And I'm going to put that right there. Of course I didn't get that on straight. I am forever known to put things on crooked. It's just, there we go. Move it down a little bit. I think that's a little better, not sure. Oh, all you have to do is just be able to laugh at yourself when it comes to something like this. So there we go. I think that's a little bit better. And I'm going to go around that. Some more rusty hinge and go around that. Just gives it a little bit extra bit around those stickers. There we go. Now we have our pocket, we have our flip down. Okay, that is curling up a little bit because of the glue stick, but when it dries, it'll be fine. Okay. Now back to Annabelle. This will go behind Annabelle. And we have our doily that we're going to put behind her. So what I think I'm going to do, so it is on there around her, the back of her head, so to speak, I'm just going to glue that on by itself first. Make sure it doesn't go above the So it looks like we're going to have to keep it pretty close. Yeah, pretty close to her head there. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use this so it won't buckle the paper. Just going to go around a little bit with my Beacon 3-in-1. Now, there's one nice thing about the Beacon 3-in-1 is it will not buckle your paper. Where some of the other glues, like the glue sticks, and it's temporary. I mean, you can, if it continues to buckle your paper, you can always put it under, a book, a heavy book, and it'll be fine. But okay, so now we're actually going to glue the main page on here. And we're going to line that up as best we can. At the bottom, we want it to be even. I think, see if I can move this, because also Beacon stays pretty. See if I can move this up a little bit before it dries too much. Okay, good. Good deal. There we go. Back on. I think I'm just going to end up cutting that off because it needs to have more around her face like that. Or I might even leave it on and just put something on the back of it. That may be the answer. Because I like the way that looks on the front. So let me think about that. I got to take a little bit of that glue off since I moved it. Shoot, I just tore it a little bit. I'm going to see how it looks. If I don't like it, I can always do something else. Let's see here. Not sure about that. We'll have to see. I may have to bit more. This is what we'll do. We're going to put a little bit of more glue on the top here and just put that back on there. One good thing about working with paper, if you don't like something, you can always fix it, change it, and make it better. Make it to your liking, one way or the other. So I'm going to take this little piece that we cut off because it is still scalloped, and I'm going to put that piece right on the top to keep the scalloped look. Sorry, my fingers have so much glue on it, I'm going to have to position it with the bone folder a little bit. There we go. I'm sorry, this is more intricate than I anticipated. Okay, move it just a little bit in. There we go. Trim this one a little bit. And there we go. I'll just make sure it's glued down. And that worked for that. Just a couple bits are still sticking up. I'll get it. There we go. Okay. All right. Now there is Annabelle. She's backed with her doily. We have the inside with Annabelle again. She's a fold down with a writing spot. Let me move this in camera so you can see a little bit better. We have our writing spot here. We have decorated the bottom with a couple of little stickers, little steampunk stickers and the rusty hinge. We have our pocket here, which what I'm going to put in there, I have, let me move this off to the side. I have this little, I took this, I had some paper in my stash, and I have a 3D embossing folder. So I took that 3D embossing folder and embossed this little piece of paper, and I'm going to take some of this rusty hinge that we used before and just go over the inside of it a little bit so you can see the embossing on the inside. Just gives it an extra little touch. You can see the bolts. And of course, I'm going to round my corners. As I have said, I prefer the rounded corners. And then I'm going to go around all the outside with the rusty hinge. And I'm going to stick this in there. This actually can be a little writing spot. Or whoever would be using this journal can put their own pictures in here, their own ephemera, whatever they would want. So that little is going to go right in this little pocket. And of course, you can always have tags, whatever, you put anything else in there that you want. Now, I'm also have planned, and get a hold of this and close this up here, to take one of the tags from the kit, and I have to cut it down because it's a little too big. So what I think I'll do is get out my little guillotine, and I'm going to cut, I'll cut the top off as close as I can to our dragonfly. And I'm going to trim just a smidge off the bottom. See if that'll work. See how close we are. Nope, we still need a little more, so I'm going to trim a little more off the top. And just a little more off the bottom. And I'm going to make this back into a tag using my tag topper punch. And I'm going to punch a hole. Again, no measuring, just... This is a little big. Let me see if this one's smaller. Oh, that's my square one. I don't want that. But I do have my handy dandy crocodile, which I think will be the right size. Yes. Okay, there we go. And I have these hole reinforcers, and I think for this one, I think I'm going to use the gold. And that actually, I think I will have to use my bigger one, because it's too small. There we go. Still just a little too big. Good grief. Okay, I'm afraid I'm trying to save as much of the smaller dragonfly as I can. I'm afraid I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and cut him as much off as I need to. Okay, that's perfect. Now I'm going to just fold this part down right below the hole reinforcer. I'll fold it this way first. And back the other way. And of course, we're back to rounding corners. And we're going to go around this one with the peacock blue, keeping with the wonderful blue colors of the kit. Okay. Now this is going to be hinged on here as another little flip up writing spot. Oops. It's my almost empty bottle of glue. Okay. I'll turn this way so I can see better to make sure I'm getting it as straight as my eyes will allow. And I think that little, I have these little, these are the ones that you make with the little jump rings. And you have a little, in this case, I had some little small number stamps. So I stamped the number and I put the jump ring around it and filled it with glossy accents. And then you get these cute little, you can put anything, stamp anything. If you have anything that's tiny enough, you can stamp it and then put the jump ring around it. You have all different colors, all different sizes, you know, and just use the glossy accents, and it makes very cute little accents for your journal. So in this case, I'm going to let that dry for just a second, and then we'll start on the front pocket. I'm going to roll this back a little bit because it keeps curling up. I should have used my Beacon 3-in-1. I wouldn't have had this problem. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? Okay. So that's that part. Now we're going to work on the front. And on this one, like I said, I'm going to use my blue washi tape, my blue Steampunk washi tape. And I am going to cover this. I'm going to use about 3 strips of this on here. That's one. I'm just going to measure them, and then I'm going to glue them on. So they'll be ready when I glue them. Okay. Keep reaching for that empty bottle. I need to move that so I won't keep reaching for it. Okay, here we go. I'm gluing them on. Gotta get this as straight as I can. Okay, that's the first one. Okay, here's the second one. to be using this. So let me make sure. Maybe I only need 2. Yeah, I do. I only need 2, so we'll reserve that for later. Okay, let me burnish that down. Okay, and let me trim it up. This part, I believe, I'm just going to fold over. And this actually I cut out with some die cuts, some letters. And this is actually, you know, the offcut of that. And I am going to be using this. Oh. Yeah, that's going to work. I'm just going to put it over like this. Okay, I'm going to just go around this, and I'm just going to end up trimming it off because I don't want to use another piece of that washi tape. I think it'll be too much. So I'm just going to go around this as best I can. There we go. I'm going to open this up so it doesn't get any glue on our Annabelle. And once this dries a little bit, I will trim that up. Actually, I need to move it over just a smidge. It's off the edge there, and I don't want it off the edge. There we go. Better. That's another thing I love about Beacon's Linen 3-in-1 glue. You have time to change your mind before it sets. So. Oop. Glue that little bit down. There we go. I'm gonna get a little wet one here. Okay, that's the beginning of that. Then I have another die cut out of that same paper that I'm going to put along the bottom here. Yep, I think right there will be good. And we're going to take some glue and glue that on. We're almost done here with this first decoration of our Annabelle Folio. Okay. Now I'm going to take my bigger scissors here and kind of cut some of this off. Okay, there we go. Oop, we have one little bit to still cut. There we go. I'm going to have to glue this top part down. Get that wet one back out. There we go. Okay. I'm going to give that just a smidge of a burnish. Don't want to do it too hard because there's some small little pieces that still need to adhere. Just like that piece. Okay. Very good. Now on the other side, I have this paper that I am going to glue on here just as a backing, and it is one that I embossed with a script embossing folder. And it's just to cover this back. Yeah, we're going to pat that down, give it a second to dry. Well, stick them to the table. And I'm going to just go over that with a little bit of the rusty hinge while it's drying to give it that rusty look before I trim it. Okay. Here we go with the trimming. And this I am actually going to tear right along the edge. Off some of the larger little bits. It didn't tear so well. There we go. And we're going to put some rusty hinge on that. Down the side here. And around the edge on the back. Okay, now the pocket, I had another another gear embossing folder that I put this through. So we're going to do the same with this. Give it a little bit of a, get some of this out of the way. The rusty hinge tinge. And this is going to be our pocket. actually going to trim this down. On each side. And across the top. We'll probably do some tear. I know I'm going to leave that because we'll probably tear it like we did the other one. So that looks perfect. So I'm going to glue this down each side. Put glue down each side for the pocket. And across the bottom. We're going to glue that on. Actually, I'm going to trim that bottom a little bit because I want it to have all the gears on there. Okay. And we're going to trim that up along the edge. And we're going to give it a little trim across here. Let's see. I think I'll do it with my little scissors. Those big scissors can be cumbersome. This is going to be tricky. There we go. I think I can do it this way. Actually, I think tearing it is still going to be better. It's okay if it has that rough edge because the rest of them have it too. It tore that out, but you know what? That's a happy accident. I think it's okay. Yeah. It tore right along the fact. I think we're going to go with that. Let's tear a little bit off here. And a little bit off of here. Okay, I'm going to pull that white part out and try to trim that off. And we're going to erase the glue up here because I put it up too high. That's good. And guess what? Back with the rusty hinge along the I think that looks great. I never would have thought of doing that myself, but you know what? Like I said, there are happy accidents in crafting. Always, always, always happy accidents. Okay, well, washi tape. So now we have a pocket there. which at some point I will do some tags to put in here. We have this part, which still needs just a little something on here. Well, we have this little pocket we could put on there. No. We have the owl. Let's put the owl on there. That will be perfect. This came in the kit. This is one of the little pockets for the kit that are just lovely. Look at that. Ah, perfect. Okay, I'm going to rusty hinge this one. Actually, I need to cut that a little bit. I need to cut it a little bit more so it doesn't interfere with the gluing. Let's do it on this side too. And a little bit down. There we go. Okay. Need to fold that in just a little bit more. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to glue that down, and I think we will call it done for today. Alrighty. Well, press that down just a little bit. Where's my bone folder? There we go. All right, we have Annabelle Folio. This is the beginning of the decorating. So we have we have a little pocket here that I will find some tags for. You open it up and you have your pocket here. We have a pocket here. We have Annabelle, who is the star of the show, and she has her doily behind her. And also some gears there. And then when you open it up, there she is again, standing and showing her beauty. You open up this part, and we have a writing spot down here that we used some steampunk stickers there. We also have a fold out here. We have a pocket here. So that's the first part, part 2 of the folio, Annabelle, and the decoration begins. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you in the next video.